Apple is no stranger to re-releasing familiar products with subtle upgrades, but this time, it seems they may be walking a thin line between refinement and repetition. The M5 iPad Pro, rumored for a late 2025 or early 2026 launch, is shaping up to be one of the most minimal refreshes we've seen in a long time. Based on current leaks, it appears Apple might just throw in a faster chip and call it a day. For some users, this might be all they need, but for the rest of us, it sparks a question. Is Apple even trying anymore? Let's rewind a bit. In May 2024, Apple released the M4 iPad Pro with some truly meaningful updates. OLED display? Check. Redesigned camera? Check. Nano-texture glass option? Finally. And they even moved the front camera to the long edge of the tablet. Something fans had begged for over the years. It was sleek, it was powerful, and for once, it felt like Apple was taking the iPad Pro seriously again. So when news broke that the M5 iPad Pro was in the pipeline, the tech world held its breath. Could Apple take things even further? A folding screen, maybe? MagSafe charging like on the iPhones? Face ID in landscape mode? Wireless charging. The hope was real. But so far, every rumor points to something far less exciting. A simple chip upgrade with an equally bloated price tag. Multiple sources have started to align around the idea that the 2025 iPad Pro refresh will be a chip and ship situation. That phrase, attributed to the ever-reliable Mark Gurman of Bloomberg, suggests Apple will change almost nothing, except swapping in their new M5 processor. That's it. No new display tech. No new design. No changes to camera, connectivity, or build materials. Just the M5 chip, likely manufactured on an enhanced version of TSMC's 3nm process. To make matters more awkward, supply chain analyst Ming-Chi Kuo has stated the M5 iPad Pro won't even begin mass production until the second half of 2025. That rules out an appearance at WWDC 2025. Instead, we're likely looking at a fall release, around the same time Apple typically announces iPhones and refreshes its wearables. If anything causes production delays, tariffs, shortages, global logistics, you might not even see the device hit shelves until early 2026. But while the internal chip is a significant upgrade on paper, the rest of the package feels like déjà vu. The M5 iPad Pro will reportedly keep the OLED panel introduced in 2024. It'll retain the same camera layout and form factor. Nano-texture glass? Still a pricey add-on. That landscape camera? Yup, still there. Essentially, if you held up an M4 iPad Pro and an M5 side by side, you might not be able to tell the difference at all. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, price. Apple isn't known for making cheap hardware, but they're apparently going further this time. With the M4 lineup starting at $999 for the 11-inch model and $1,299 for the 13-inch, users expected something premium. However, the base storage tier was just 128 gigabytes, hardly enough for a professional workflow. This time, Apple is reportedly removing the 128 gigabytes option entirely and bumping the base to 256 gigabytes. That's great, right? Sure, until you find out they're increasing the price by $100 on both models. So now you're looking at $1,099 for the 11-inch and $1,399 for the 13-inch, just for a device that is functionally identical to the one you could have bought in 2024. And with looming US tariffs possibly affecting chips manufactured outside the country, read TSMC in Taiwan, there's concern that Apple might need to raise prices even further for American customers. What a time to be alive. It's also worth noting what's not coming in this refresh. That long-rumored C1 chip, which is expected to be Apple's next-gen coprocessor for handling AI tasks, might be held back until 2026. That means no leap forward in on-device intelligence. And don't expect mmWave 5G, a major feature for some professional users. The M5 iPad Pro is looking less like a revolution and more like a placeholder. A device that exists just to have something new on the shelf while Apple waits for the real innovations to mature. From a performance standpoint, yes, the M5 chip will undoubtedly crush benchmarks. Early rumors suggest it'll be one of the most power-efficient and fastest chips Apple has ever made. You'll probably be able to multitask across multiple heavy apps, render 3D models in real time, edit 8K videos on the fly, and stream 5 different workflows simultaneously. But let's be real, how many people are actually doing that on an iPad? For most of us, the iPad is a versatile tablet for sketching, note-taking, reading, content consumption, and maybe some light photo or video editing. Even the M1 and M2 chips from years ago can handle those tasks with ease. So the M5, despite its raw power, will likely feel like overkill for anyone not using the device as a desktop replacement. That's the real challenge Apple faces. The iPad Pro keeps getting faster and more powerful, but iPadOS remains a bottleneck. Despite improvements in recent versions, it still doesn't offer true pro-level multitasking or flexibility. You can't freely resize windows like on macOS. You're locked into a mobile-first app ecosystem. You're limited in how external drives and displays are handled. And that makes it hard to justify these huge hardware leaps. What Apple needs is a reason beyond just it's faster to make users want to upgrade. Unfortunately, the M5 iPad Pro doesn't seem to offer that. No new input methods, no radical design shift, no software enhancements exclusive to the M5 chip. Just more performance in a nearly identical package. And look, that's not inherently bad. Some users will absolutely love having the latest chip. Developers, high-end content creators, digital artists, they may notice the difference. But for the average user, this feels like Apple phoning it in. So, should you upgrade? That depends. If you're still rocking an M1 or earlier, especially the 2020 or 2021 models, the M5 might be a worthy leap if you wait for sales or discounts. If you already own the M4, there's practically no reason to switch. You're getting the same tablet with a slightly faster chip and a heavier price tag. That's it. And for those feeling the itch to upgrade just because a new version exists, maybe hold off. The real innovation might be coming in 2026. That's when we could see the C1 chip, AI enhancements, better 5G, or even a foldable iPad, something that truly changes how we think about tablets. In the meantime, the M5 iPad Pro is just Apple treading water. A gap year, a warm-up act, an expensive repackaging of last year's product with a shinier label. But if you're curious like us, stay tuned. When the M5 does launch, we'll test the thing inside out, whether it can replace your laptop, if it works better with Final Cut Pro on iPadOS, and if it lives up to even half the hype. Maybe Apple has a few surprises left up its sleeve. But if not, well, at least it makes for a good rant. Subscribe if you're into no BS reviews, chaotic tech humor, and brutal honesty. We'll be here breaking it all down, one overpriced gadget at a time. See you in the next one.